Welcome to Two Wheel Hustle Quick and Dirty video. I don't spend a lot of time making notes before my videos, I just get to the point. So I wanted to do this one on my recent experiences with the Cardo and Sena comm systems. It's always a debate, which one should you have, which one's the best. So let me just tell you a little story that I've gone through in the last couple of weeks, which has chewed up quite a bit of money. So originally, I was using this little Cardo Freecom 4. I upgraded to JBL speakers. It was great little kit. I used that on my Schuberth E1, really good. One thing I like is you can just take the, can't do it one-handed, you can take that bit off and just charge it up away from the helmet. I was out riding with my local bunch of guys. There's about 20 of us all sat in the services one day. And I went around the table and asked everybody what comm systems they were using, and they were all using Sena. This little Freecom is Bluetooth only, doesn't have mesh. And the last few rides we've done over the last few years, when it's been a little bit stressful, it's because we weren't communicating while we were riding, you know. So we could have alleviated some of the heated debates we had if we just had some comms. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to get a Sena. I've heard stories about them not being waterproof, but you know, how true can they be? I mean, these things are built to go on the side of a crash helmet. They are advertised as water resistant. So I bought a 50R. Obviously I don't have it anymore. I stuck that on the side of my Schuberth E1, and two good friends that we went off for a trip up to the Lake District a couple of weeks ago. In the first 3 or 4 days it was great. The mesh is fantastic. You press a button or you just say, hey Sena, mesh on, and it all turns on and you're talking. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. I think with the Cardos, you have to create a group and you have to add people to the group. With the Sena, nothing. In fact, we had a day when we were riding out of Toaster near the Super Sausage. We were riding away from the Super Sausage Cafe. You may know it. And a whole bunch of bikes came the other way. And we were chatting with them because they were obviously all on Sena Open Mesh Channel 1 as well. And that was pretty cool. I think it'd be a bit annoying if you're at some bigger bike event like the Adventure Bike Festival. You'd soon want to change the channel or create a private group, which you can do. But anyway, so we're up in the Lake District, all good. One day we were riding, heavy rain. One of the guys decided he wanted to stop and put his waterproofs on, so I was just sat on my GS waiting for him to put his waterproofs on in the heavy rain. That was enough to kill the Sena. The mesh failed and it wouldn't take a charge. I could still listen to music, I could still make phone calls, and I could still hear my friends over the mesh, but they couldn't hear me, and it wouldn't take a charge, so it just died as a result of the rain. So that went back for a full refund. I posted online on one of the Facebook pages. People said they'd had very similar problems. The only Sena systems which were working well were the integrated ones. I messaged Sena about the problem. They're like, yeah, well, it's not advertised as waterproof. Well, that's not acceptable. And the supplier, who I won't mention, but they did do me good, they also said, well, it's not advertised as waterproof, you know, so you shouldn't be riding with it in the rain. But as you're such a good customer, we will give you a refund. Great. Took it back to the shop, got a Cardo Pack Talk Edge, leading top of the range, waterproof, put it in a cup of water. Fantastic. Yeah. The sound quality, even though it had the JBL speakers, the sound quality, the music quality was awful. It was just flat. Didn't matter which profile I chose, it was just horrible. Bluetooth thing, it only had two Bluetooth channels, so 2 on this one, whereas the Sena's got about 5 or 6. So I could connect my phone to one, my GS TFT to another, a second phone, etc. Whereas this was GPS, TFT, no way to connect my phone, so I can't then make any changes to the device on the fly. But when I did connect that to my phone on channel 1 as the manual, channel 2 as bike, then the phone wouldn't connect. And if the phone connected, then the bike wouldn't connect. I could not get the two to work together, and this seems to be a common problem. Cardo, BMW, GS don't seem to play very well nicely together. So that went back. I didn't feel comfortable taking it back. I didn't want to take the mickey. But I was like, well, what else can I do, you know? And I had been toying for some time about getting the new Schuberth E2. I love my E1. So I figured, you know what, I might look at this. And Sports Bike Shop did me an amazing deal. There was some good discounts. I mean, they do great prices anyway. I don't work for them, they're not paying me. But then I managed to shave a bit more off. And I bought the Schuberth SC2 integrated system, which is a Sena 50. I don't know if it's an R or an S. It's when you buy the integrated comms, it's that box on the back. It's those buttons there, and it's the microphone. There. It takes 5 minutes to fit. I'm going to do another video on the Schuberth E1 versus E2. What I will say is this comes with built-in speakers. Regardless, it will just come with speakers. You have no choice. They're in there. Sena high definition speakers. They're not there top of the range, Sena and Cardo or something like that. But they're good enough. Excuse me. So you literally, this is on a jack plug. You just plug it in, pull off a black plastic blank on the side, same on the back, and then plug, and that's it. All up and running. Meshed up with my friends, all good. I'll be absolutely gutted if this gets wet, but from what I've read online, they don't. So very pleased with that. The sound quality, it's not as good as the 50R because that does have their top of the range Cardon, whatever they're called, speakers, but it's a massive improvement over the Cardo Pack Talk Edge speakers, the GBLs. So yeah, as you can imagine, there's probably a lot of money coming back and forth to my credit card doing this over the last few weeks, but I think I'm finally there now. For me, if you want good sound quality, you want good connectivity, Sena. If you need waterproofness, Cardo. Where they Cardo and Sena really differ is Cardo make devices that stick on the outside of the helmet. Sena are working with all the helmet manufacturers to make integrated systems. So they've really got a foot in the market here. Pretty much any helmet manufacturer, if it's an integrated comm system, it's going to be Sena inside. Cardo did do the original SC1 for the E1, but they put in a really entry-level model and it was awful. And I think Schuberth decided it wasn't doing their reputation any good, so they jumped straight over to Sena on the newer version of the E1 skirt integrated system, which a friend of mine still has to this day and it works fine. Doesn't have mesh, but he's bought the Sena mesh adapter, which Bluetooths to the standard Sena and then gives him mesh as well. So that works really nicely. So I've been a massive fan of Cardo right from day one when I had a Q1, Cardo Q1. But I think the time has come now to jump ship over to Sena. Thought I never would, but it just works so nicely. So if you're going to, outside of a crash helmet, you need good waterproofness, not too bothered about music sound quality. Cardo, if you want good sound quality, good reliability, lots of options, lots of connectivity options, go down the Sena route. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. I see a lot of people watching my videos. I'm not getting a huge amount of likes or thumbs up. I think the good videos, people just don't tend to do it. So if you could give me a like and even a subscription, that would be great as well. Just, you know, be a nice thing to do, and I can see who's watching it and who's liking it. So hope you found this useful.